Alright guys, well here it is. I went and picked it up this morning. Ended up giving a little more for it than originally planned. He gave me a price, and then this morning he changed the price and pretty much doubled it. But we ended up coming to an agreement, met halfway. I still got a pretty decent deal on it. The problem was, he said he got it out there and it died, or he shut it off and he would never could get it to start back up again. Well, I go out there, of course it's in the mud. I had to drag it from off the road. It was leaning over, about to tip over. And the ignition switch here was gone. It was down inside. I had to take this plate off, and I ended up finding this nut right here in the shop that worked perfect on it. But the issue was, and it was super simple. I like this one too because it's got the whole cover that comes up with the struts. It had some junk in the carburetor, so literally I took the bowl off. I finagled a spray can of brake clean in there and stuck the nozzle up in the main jet, sprayed it out, put everything back together. Boom, she fired right up and runs and drives. Now, it does have some kind of issue with the tracks. It'll go and stop, it'll go and stop, and I don't know if that's because it's still got all the original hydraulic fluid in it. I'm thinking I'm going to need to drain all that out and start over. I don't think they're slipping, because you couldn't hear it like, stripping the teeth in the track. It just wasn't moving the motors like it should. But everything else worked okay. I do have to get in here and take the slack out of both of these there, and that may be all there is. I don't know. But they're awful loose, and that knob's missing, and both of these are missing, which is a pain because these are your drive. This is your backfill blade, and they're hard to hold them, with no handles on them. That's your auxiliary over here, which they're blocked off. That's for a thumb or something else later, but the only thing I may do with this is put a thumb on it. Now, I intend on keeping this thing if I can get everything working all right, and keeping it for myself, using it for small jobs. It does have the little better ROPS on it, or it looks better anyways. But this little tracked machine, when I get the tracks on it, and that little wheeled machine are going to be sold or traded off for something that I can use. This one, I just got to get the tracks back on it and then figure out why it ain't wanting to start. It's not fuel, I think it's electronic, because I can spray brake clean and it won't even try to fire. It's intermittent. It'll hit and stop, hit and stop. But like I said, to save a lot of trouble, I may just pull that whole engine out, and I've got an actual 16 horse to go in there. Bump up the horsepower a little, everything else should bolt right up, and then once the tracks are on, this one's a running, driving machine. But let's get on this thing and I'll show you. Now she starts right up. Turn the battery power on. See how many hours we got. 40, I don't know if you can see that. It's 48.7 hours. Give it a little choke. Now give it a little throttle. One track alone works fine, but when you do both of them, it goes and stops, goes and stops. So, anyways, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to fire up the pressure washer, clean all this stuff off, see if we can't get it. Oh, and this does have the optional, let me eyes it down. This does have the optional, I don't know if it's optional, maybe standard on these. It has a little oil cooler fan, and it works. And then our LED light, which it comes on, but just barely. So, anyhow, let's get the pressure washer fired up, clean this thing up, and hopefully we can put it to use. Let me know if y'all have any tips or tricks on these cool little machines. This is a new one to me. I know they're cheap, little Chinese machines, but I'm not going to be putting this thing to work for 8 hours a day. I'm just going to be using it for myself, and maybe on some other jobs where we don't want to take the big machine. something small that we can get this in and out of pretty easy. So with that being said, I hope you guys like it, and go check out my channel. I got plenty of other videos. Later.